Once upon a time, in a peaceful and prosperous kingdom, there reigned a wise and just king named King Asam. His subjects adored him for his kindness and fairness, for he ruled it with a deep love for the people and a vision for their prosperity. He always ensured that the poor were cared for, that the farmers had the resources they need, and that the village thrived. But one faithful day, the kingdom was struck by sadness. When King Isam passed away, the kingdom mourned the loss of their beloved king. But in the midst of their sorrow, the people looked to the future after a month of the king's passing. His only daughter, named Lucia, was chosen to take the throne despite her youth. Queen Lucia was known for her wisdom beyond her years, a gift she inherited from her father. Lucia's rise to the throne was met with great admiration from the villagers. She had been attentive during her father's reign as king, and she very well understood the pain points of the villagers. She worked alongside the council members to implement wise laws that favored the poor subjects and helped grow the kingdom. She introduced scholarships for poor children to attend schools and loans for farmers to expand their lands and harvest to tackle corruption. She approved laws that publicly punished all the corrupt chiefs who were causing prices to rise and taxes to Queen Lucia. Was a leader who listened to the needs of our people and worked tirelessly to improve their lives. But not everyone was as pleased with her reign. Her uncle, Chief Ian, had always believed that he should have inherited the throne. For years. He had plotted and schemed, waiting for the perfect moment to make his move. When his brother, the king, passed away, he had hoped to be crowned as ruler. But when the girl chose Lucia, his niece, to inherit the throne instead, Chief Iman's anger grew. He could not bear the thought of a young girl sitting on the throne he felt belonged to him. His frustration deepened as Queen Lucia implemented policies that curtailed his ability to control the village's wealth. She blocked his illegal tax schemes and refused to allow him to use his power to exploit the villagers for personal gains. Chief Iman's desire for power turned into hatred, and he began plotting against the very kingdom that had once been under his music sway. Chief Iman knew that in order to bring down the young queen, he would need to create a scandal, something that would turn the villagers against her and force her from the throne. One night, under the late moonlight, he devised a plan to steal the kingdom's most important document, the trade register. This register contained all the records of the kingdom's trade agreements, merchants, and resources, and without it, the kingdom will be thrown into confusion. The loss of the trade register would spark outrage among the villagers, and Lucia would be blamed for its disappearance. One evening during the town's annual hunting festival, Chief Ian saw his opportunity. The palace was bustling with activities as everyone gathered to celebrate. And while the attention of the palace guards were diverted, he sneaked into the royal chambers. Quiet as a shadow, he stole the trade register, leaving no trace behind. The next morning, the kingdom was thrown into chaos. The palace officials discovered that the trade register was missing, and the kingdom's leaders were thrown into panic. Queen Lucia was horrified when she learned that the one document that kept the kingdom's economy running had vanished without a trace. Her mind raced, trying to piece together who could have taken it and why. Queen Luan knew that someone within the kingdom must have orchestrated this plot. After all, only a few trusted individuals had access to the royal chambers. It didn't take long for the young queen to make a bold decision. She had long suspected her uncle Chief Ian, who had always sought to undermine her authority. But she needed proof. She couldn't allow her reign to end because of a false accusation. In a moment of quiet determination, Queen Lucia decided to take matters into her own hands. Disguising herself as a local spy, she set out to trace her uncle and discover the truth. With her keen intelligence and resourcefulness, Lucia began watching Chief Iman's every move. She followed him around the village, keeping to the shadows, watching how he met with strange men from neighboring villages, exchanging secretive letters and whispered
conversations at night. Lucia knew that she had to get her hands on one of those letters, so one day she followed the man and intercepted him with her spy warriors as they left Chief Amon's house holding a letter that seemed to contain important information. Without hesitation, Lucia took the letter and hid it in her cloak. She secretly arrested the strange man and kept him in the palace prison. Later that night she opened the letter. To her shock, the letter revealed Chief Amon's true intentions. He was negotiating with some notorious pirates in the neighboring kingdom to sell the kingdom's tier register for 3 gold coins. The letter detailed the transaction and how he planned to use the fonts to support his rise to power. Quilla's heart pounded with both anger and disbelief. She now had the evidence she needed to expose her uncle's betrayal. The next day, Lucia gathered the villagers in the palace. Words of our gathering spread quickly, and soon the palace was filled with people, farmers, children, elders, and traders, all waiting to hear from their beloved queen. Queen Lucia stood tall in front of them, holding the letter she had intercepted. She revealed to them the treacherous plot of Chief Amon, explaining how he had stolen the kingdom's trade register and planned to sell it to some pirates for gold. The villagers gasped in shock as Kia held up the letter showing them the proof of her uncle's treachery. Chief Ian stood in front of the crowd, his face flushed with anger and disbelief. He tried to protest, but the evidence was irrefutable. The villagers had long trusted their queen, and now they saw the true nature of the man who had once been a respected chief. With the support of the villagers, Queen Lucia banished her uncle Chief Ian from the kingdom forever. He was never to return, and his name would forever be remembered as a traitor. Queen Lucia's leadership was solid defeat, and the people celebrated her bravery, her intelligence, and her unwavering sense of justice. They knew that under her reign the kingdom will continue to thrive and justice would always prevail. As the days passed, Lucia continued to rule with wisdom and kindness. She worked tirelessly to ensure that the poor were cared for, that farmers could grow their crops, and that the kingdom flourished. The villagers adored her for the way she always listened to them, the way she protected them from harm, and the way she always did what was right. And so Queen Lucia's reign became a golden era for the kingdom, a time of prosperity, fairness, and justice. And while there were many who tried to bring her down, none could ever break the spirit of the young queen who had inherited the throne not only by birth, but by her courage and the strength of her character. This is the end of my story.